Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 5, Yoga of Renunciation of Karmas. And presently verse number is 15. Profound insight is being given into the goal of every soul. The soul is a goal. Every reflected sun in a jar of water, what's the goal of that reflected sun? The sun. And what type of attainment it is. You are not grabbing something other than what you are. It's a revelation. Who am I? From a false I am to emerge into real I am. From mayhem to aham. These are simple points, but they're very profound. They have to get into your heart, capture your whole personality, and control every movement. In other words, this wisdom has to operate through your life. Your life becomes involved with this in this process, then you are practicing yoga, integral yoga in daily life. And once you do that, you don't worry about it. You are in divine hands. Keeping that in view, in the 15th verse here, Nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukritam vibhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantava. The all-pervading divinity does not take into account the sin or virtue of anyone. It is because knowledge is veiled by ignorance, and it is due to that individual souls are deluded. Let's follow now. These are very profound statements. All-pervading divinity. First you must understand all-pervading word is allegorical. Because there is nothing all. The divinity alone is. If you understand more in a different way, all the illuminations of the sun and all the reflected suns, there are countless reflected suns. On one way of studying, you are seeing all countless things. So while you are studying countless in your mind, try to also bring out all the countless things have one reality penetrating them. And that's the sun. Sun is a thread, has threaded all reflected suns. Figure out what type of allegorical is. There is no thread. The sun has no need to do that. But just to help your mind. So if you come to understand the essential nature of the soul, soul in everyone is the absolute self. keep this simple illustration. Countless reflected suns in jars of water. Every reflected sun is in a unique predicament. No two reflected suns, they may look like twins, but they are never exactly the same. Because the water brings about a different experience, water of the mind. But if you take the water away, reflected sun is nothing but the absolute self. One absolute self, the supreme truth, is expressing through all human beings, all animals, all birds, and all that is in the world, all matter. This has to go deep into your understanding, but don't be hasty. You have to do it gradually and go on building up appetite through satsanga. That divinity does not take into account the sin or the virtue of anyone. In this world, your prosperity and adversity depend upon your karmas. So therefore, whenever you want to accomplish something, your mind goes after a mathematical evaluation. Do I have sufficient good karma behind it? If it is not, I must add more karma, a few more ounces. And then there are experts who will give you more details. Because in your past birth you did some bad karma. Therefore, you will not have what you are expecting. Now, so many details are there. And people, having read spiritual literature, in immature state, they begin to develop the idea that what sages say is good, right, but I have done so many negative karmas. So, attaining liberation is not possible in this life, maybe in another life. But there again, you don't know whether you will come back with as human beings, with normal nose and eyes, ears, or come back as a giraffe or a deer. I'm making details. That type of evaluation God does not do. Karma is not the one that defines whether you will attain liberation or not. Yes, karma paves the way, but karma in itself does not. Karma comes in three categories. Tamasic karma. Tamasic karma is extremely terrible karmas. All the terrorists do tamasic karma. It's demoniac. Completely uncontrolled anger, hate, vanity, and so forth. And that the world always goes on with it, because three gunas are always there. People reading scriptures, they think it was different ages, had different degrees or different types of negativity. Must realize all those descriptions are allegorical. There has not been a time when all these gunas are not there. So you may describe Treta Yuga where Rama came was such an advanced age. But then, even in a little forest, Sita couldn't stay secure. Demons were everywhere. You want to go back to Treta Yuga? I want to go to Dwapar Yuga when Krishna was there. Story is the same. Yuga term is only an allegorical term. And that again is dependent upon gunas. If sattva is more dominating in your personality, you are in sattva yuga. If sattva moves away a little to overcome by rajas, you can get into treta yuga. If the movement goes a little towards tamas, you go into kali yuga. What was dwapar yuga? And then finally you come into kali yuga. But all these yugas enter in your personality day by day. In the morning you can be in Satya Yuga. By the afternoon you have gone into Dwapar Yuga. By evening Kali Yuga has entered. So one has to understand that this type of information or insight, Pandits in India cannot dare give it to the masses. But one has to be ready if you want to be really involved with spirituality. Your mind must be clear about how things are. And ultimately, you have to have a strong heart to understand the entire world is illusion. Simple illustration, your dream. No matter how wonderful your dream, you may be having always a wonderful cream. But all details of your dream, not a single point in your dream world has any reality. Should you therefore stay on dreaming? This world, practical world, has nothing, is very similar, called long dream, where you live in ignorance, you don't know all about yourself. Even your hair outwits you. You don't know about yourself. You don't know about the world. You don't know how long you are going to exist in this body. You don't know anything what was in the past and what's waiting for you in future birth. And that's the world that seems so joyous. All are jumping around like deer. After Mirage. The Raj of me. Me, you are looking for me and mine. Raj is the kingdom. The whole world is at Raj. You are jumping around. How can I have something which will please me and those who are mine? Have led into bigger. So with this understanding, now shift your attention to the goal of life. The goal of life is not dependent upon your karmas. It's dependent upon your understanding. Because God realization is not fruit of karma. God realization becomes possible when karma completely moves away from you. Karma is burnt up. And the source of karma, desires, they also become sublimated. And the source behind desires is ignorance. We call it mala, vikshepa and avarana. And all these three have to be cut down, transcended, remedied, in order that the soul may realize, I am that. That Brahman or God is not counting on the negative karmas you have done, because worldly office, if you enter into, you have to show your qualification, how many things you have done. If you want to enter into God's realm, no qualification. Shed your me and mine. Become divine. This doesn't mean that your actions should not be given importance. They are given importance. But their importance is to allow your heart to become free of anger, hate, and develop divine qualities. So that type of movement is called karma yoga. Do your duties. Do your duties. Again, first point, don't do those things that will simply give you money. Money should not become the focus. Do things that will allow your quality of your heart, quality of your thinking become positive, Godward. So turning karma into a Godward process, the whole process is karma yoga. Fruits of karma will continue to be there, but your interest is not in the fruits of karma, but in attaining unity, union with God, revelation that I am that. Ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantava. If jnana is there, wisdom, soul realizes I am that. Jnana is the remedy for all this illusion. But the jnana is veiled by ajnana, ignorance. As long as jnana is veiled by ajnana, as long as your understanding is restricted by ignorance, you will continue to stay in the world experiencing bhavavyadhi, disease of the world process, which means coming into incarnation again and again. The cycle of birth and death will continue. That type of life a wise aspirant must move away from that type of possibility of coming back again and again. No matter how wonderful the astrologer may say that your next life, because you have done good karmas, will make you a big politician. Or your rulership will be very great. I'm joking, but not joking at the same time. That's what human mind always looks for: prosperity, greatness. But that should not dominate your mind. Your real goal is attaining liberation. Liberation is not something you are attaining like prosperity, but realizing who are you. Throughout your dream, you went on looking for so many things. The reality behind it, just look for yourself, wake up. Let by limited mind, you are looking for yourself through countless karmas. But if you do so, then you are just wandering in the dream. Wake up. No matter how many good things you have done in your dream, those good things don't make you wake up. Waking process is different. Because your dream can show you are doing wonderful, but suddenly the scene changes in your very dream. The very big house you created collapsed. Tena muhyanti jantava. All souls, jivas, trapped by ignorance, they are constantly wandering in this world process in a deluded manner. Jiva is called jantu. And humorously I say jantu sits on kintu. And kintu means everything that you bring in your mind, there is always doubt about it. In Hindi word, kintu. You see, so many things you say, I have all these possibilities, but term comes in. But I have a virus. So one kintu makes the jantu in turmoil. Jiva is jantu, led by kintu, goes into countless calamities until ends up with parantu, parameshwar, transcendental self. I bring some humor so that people can remember. See, jantu, kintu, parantu. Sixteenth verse. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham aditya vajnanam prakashayati tatparam. For those who are ignorant, or for those whose ignorance has been destroyed by the knowledge of the self, wisdom shines forth like the sun, revealing the reality of the transcendental self. First we have talked about how ignorance veils the knowledge of the self. And as such, as a result of that, when your essential nature, who am I, has been veiled, and all the troubles of the world, the cycle of birth and death, the world experienced by your mind, your intellect, your ego, your sentiments, this entire world of time and space, WWW. The entire world seems to become real for you. But nothing in this world is real. And that's the knowledge of the self. Knowledge of the self is the knowledge that everyone must acquire. If you don't, then you are ignorant. What does knowledge do? Wisdom shines forth like the sun, revealing the reality of the transcendental self. Just to remind you, there are 3 stages. And again the scriptures remind you. 3 obstacles to be overcome: mala, vikshepa, avarana. Mala is gross impurities, anger, hate, etc., to such an extent that it shows up your teeth, shows up your heads, your muscles, shows up with your ugly face. Ugly, don't be upset. No matter how wonderful you are, when anger gets into your face, nothing can be more ugly. So that mala has to be handled. To give you a brief way of understanding, karma yoga. How not to lose any opportunity that allows you to do good deeds and be positive. A cock is crowing, saying, wake up, wake up. It's opportunity. You don't wake up. I'm joking, but that's how so many opportunities come in life. Allow the opportunities to put your mind into a positive direction. And if nothing is coming, that's again another opportunity. You are left to yourself. God has not left you. Be dynamically involved with tuning with God. Tadbuddhya tadatmana tannishta tatparayana gacchantya punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. Those who have their intellect centered in the self and who are supremely devoted to the self, they destroy all sins by knowledge and attain that state of liberation from where there is no return. But before you enter to it, I had already started the context of 3. Mala I described. Vikshepa, distractions of your mind, they are handled by bhakti yoga, devotion to God. And blended with dhyana yoga, practice of meditation. And the final avarana is removed by tattva-gyan, knowledge of the self. All the 4 yogas are involved in removing 3 knots of the heart. Mala, vikshepa, avarana. Impurity, distraction, veiling. The yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, dhyana yoga, they are also called Raj yoga. Bhakti and dhyana, devotion, meditation together, that deals with your distractions of your mind. And finally, the veil of illusion is removed by intuitive understanding, buddhi. Ordinary understanding is intellectual. It simply goes into Google type of lots of information. Intuitional knowledge, that's purified, that's real buddhi that will lead you to liberation. Who am I? That enables you to realize I am that. Until that buddhi operates, you are constantly deluded by your mind, your intellectual intellect, your ego, your senses. All these are creating experiences. But all these experiences have to be understood in the light of intuitive knowledge. Intuitive knowledge, think of yourself in a big dream. Intuitive knowledge puts a little sneak. This entire dream doesn't exist. Once that intuitive knowledge enters, it awakens you. All descriptions are allegorical. Awakens you doesn't mean that you suddenly shake yourself out of this world and fly away because you became liberated. You live with the body, face all the challenges, but in your deeper level, you have no problem. You are one with God. This reflected sun continues to shake with the pot. But no matter how much it may shake or whatever it may happen, if it has realized I am the sun, that's the goal. Tad buddhaya. First point is given. Develop that type of buddhi. It's also known as jnana shakti, the strength of understanding. The Devi behind this jnana shakti is Saraswati Devi. That's all the Devis are Prakriti, radiation of God. This jnana shakti, if it begins to operate and allow your intellect to become purified and transformed, the whole process is also known as sanamati. Sabko sanamati de Bhagavan. The greatest good that can happen to you, it will not happen from any external source. Nobody can give you all that you need. But good news, you have the key yourself. And that key is sanamati. Your own understanding, clarity of understanding, not intellectual. Intellectual is, but the type of understanding that develops when you are mature, you are integrated. That type of understanding doesn't go into research. It is spontaneous. Even in different stages, we talk of intuition. Here we are talking about the highest intuition. Tad buddhya tadatmana. Next point, become devoted to God. God should become your very soul. You love your soul, but become more advanced, more mature. Soul that you love is nothing but God. But that's opening yourself to very advanced stage. Normal stage, love God. It's like a tricky statement. Love God. Tadatmana. Whatever you do it because you love God. Love of God should turn your actions into karma yoga, your sentiments into bhakti yoga, your mental process into concentrated movement, dhyana yoga, and your intellect, purified intellect, will automatically become intuitional. Tadatmana. That's what Lali Mere Lal ki jitne count lal. The devotees who goes out to look for the glory of God. Love of God becomes so overwhelming in the heart, the devotee sees that love manifesting. But then ends up losing the whole personality, losing the little self. मैं भी हो गई लाल. Tad buddhya tadatmana. These are mantra types. First one is tad buddhya. Allow your buddhi float towards tat, God. Tadatmana. Allow your very soul to join with God with profound love. Tannishtha. Allow all your actions in a way as if you are worshipping God. Tatparayana. And allow your whole life to flow towards God realization. Tatparayana, if you fully understand, it means become very efficiently involved in practicing integral yoga. Every aspect of your personality. And this whole process allows your life to glow with a special shimmer. In folk language or in normal language dealing with various things, people remind each other, tatpar ho jao. Tatpar means be attentive to what you want to do. But very word tatpar we use, tat, that, be focused on attaining God realization. Gacchantya punaravrittim. One who has developed that wisdom you will not enter into the world process ever again. Call it bad news, good news. And that's the goal. That's the ideal presented by all the scriptures. And just to remind you, in the Bhagavad Puran, Kunti Devi, mother of the Pandavas, was a great devotee of Krishna. And he turns to Krishna. Krishna says he is going away and wanted say farewell to Kunti. And Kunti gives her last prayer. Says, "O Lord, each time I faced adverse situation and I received your grace, continue to give me adversity so that," because Krishna made it feel that things are all settled and he's going away. But Kunti says, "Don't make it settled. Continue giving me challenges so that I will say goodbye to the world forever. Apunarbhava darshanam. No more darshan of this. Darshan of this that goes on putting you in the cycle of birth and death. No more entering into this ahamkar. Fly, soham. Soham plane. Jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. Wisdom, what does it do? What does light do? It removes darkness. When we talk of darkness, that darkness term is avidya, ignorance. It expresses itself in 5 ways. Firstly, ignorance, mind that simply is so dull that any opportunity for knowledge, the mind shuts it out. And mind cherishes to stay ignorant. Someone comes to you, tells you, I'm going to teach you about mantra. Oh no. Things are going well. Don't bring your mantra. So I'm just giving you a joke. How ignorance is loved by people. Then comes asmita, egoism. It's very instinctive to love one's own ego. But if you stay only in instinct level, then you stay as an animal. And then raga dvesha, creating impressions of attachment. These impurities, this ignorance exists in your unconscious in the form of subtle impressions. Impressions each time you have felt that something has given you happiness. Without using your intellect, you fall for what mind wants. Mind wants, a very crude illustration, you tasted something, it's so wonderful for your tongue. Now it slips through your tongue again and again. And intellect has no choice, it is there. Intellect wants to tell you it is going to cause trouble for you. You will not digest it, and so forth. So, raga is that type of impression. An illusion that happiness has come from objects. Which objects? Now you have a whole detail. And that is put into your records, in your iPad. That's a raga. Similarly, things that have given you pain, they are also recorded. And then there is a third type of a record, you don't know which one is what. But all this has brought to your life, led by your ignorance, kind of a meaningful life. Something is happening always. And this gives you abhinivesha klesha. You don't want to lose this wonderful personal opportunity. Where there are flowers waiting for you, and where there are ants waiting for you, or bees. Where there is positive and negative. So all these impurities, you become rid of all. When ignorance is destroyed, then all these five move away. That's called jnana nirdhut, kalamasha. Jnana has purified all these kalamash, all these afflictions. Eighteenth verse. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva swapakecha pandita samadarshinaha. Enlightened sages behold the same self in Brahmins who are endowed with knowledge and humility, as in cows and elephants, or even dogs and outcasts. It's an allegorical statement. The sages, the whole world is made up of three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Where there is sattva, that's presented by pandita. People who are called Brahmins, endowed with knowledge and humility. If you want a bit profounder meaning of pandits, panda sanjayate buddhi sa pandita. Panda is lake, small little lake. Your mind, when it is highly purified, becomes like a lake. Your bhavana, bhakti bhavana, rises like a big lotus. And your knowledge sees the world as a drop of water on the lotus petal. And you can very easily understand it doesn't have much reality about it. The lotus simply shakes it up. Mani padme hum. That's what Buddhism, that point has been brought out, highlighted. So that's the word Pandit really means. But in modern time, the word is used for any type of intellectual skill or learning or intelligence. The sages see God in those who have purified intellect. But they see also the same God in those who are elephants and horses. You can take it literally. Sages see God in all animals, birds, everywhere. But more in another way, even among human beings, all are not pandits. Some are horses. They are so jumping around, dependent mostly on the senses. And there are some who are elephants. They're depending upon their subtle vasanas, subtle desires. And then there are people who have such weak will, they are like dogs and outcasts. The statement always gave different messages to the masses. First point, God can be seen anywhere. God is the reality behind all. So there is the idea of hating anyone is just like in a hospital. You are a doctor, and if you were to develop that attitude of hating a patient because the patient sneezes so much, to the doctor, one who is calm and relaxed, not sneezing. Another is sneezing. The third is shouting. The fourth is complaining against the doctor. Run away from it. Go to hell. No matter how they are, doctor's heart sees how they are all souls suffering. And he begins to figure out how can he help them. But here, same thing applied. Your attitude to human beings shouldn't be crude. If you find the human being doing terrible things, you must understand what has happened to society and culture, what type of culture one must develop that people do not get nourished by terroristic views. How religion must be taught in a way that you develop a love for all religions. But in every religion, I'm talking about at mass level, the tendency is to highlight your religion is the best. It is completely against the spirit of religion. So I will not go into details, and with this I will conclude. ओम त्र्यंबकं यजामहे सुगंधिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकबन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्ष्यमामृतात्। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम हरि ओम। ओम श्री कृष्णाय नमः।